The day is in fact upon us. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is finally out on PC. Well, it has been for a day. It's just at time of recording, like it's Thursday evening for me. I know, right? Dawn from the past coming to you right now in the present. It's just that's the way that it works. Don't worry about it. But unfortunately, I haven't been able to play the game because it's a chunky boy. Okay, 145 gigabytes or something like that. But that one, as somebody who has played through it a lot on PS5, it's like it actually makes sense this time around. Like there's a lot of stuff that's in this game. So yeah, if it's that big, it kind of does end up making sense. But everything that I'm hearing and everything that you're seeing right now, I mean, the game at one point in time on, I think Wednesday or something leading up to the release, or maybe it was on the day, maybe it was when I woke up first thing in the morning and then just made sure that my key showed up and I could get it downloaded. It was actually in the top spot, but it's the best-selling game right behind the Steam Deck, or rather the best-selling game full stop, and the second best-selling item on the Steam store only behind the Steam Deck. And yeah, the 30% discount has now been carried over to February 5th. So yeah, now that you can see all of the reviews that are coming out, this is not going to be a comprehensive review, okay? We're just going to simply go over some of the early reports that are out there. And yeah, this is the best Square Enix port that's out there, okay? You can see very positive reviews so far. I've looked at some of the reviews that are out there, and they're just kind of one-liners, and there's some people just stating some factually inaccurate statements, and then other people bitching that there's no ultra wide monitor support. It's like, okay, I guess that's fine-ish, but you're looking for niche support for something and you're big mad about that. So it's like, oh, okay, cool, but very positive. That's great, because at the launch of Remake on PC, when it was a stupid Epic Game Store exclusive, there was some problem with the DLX11 because of course, DX11, because there's always problems with DX11. You had to go into the INI files and change a couple of things, and everything worked smoothly. But this time around, everything's fine and dandy. Okay, those are the major reports that are out there, and hopefully in Monday I can give people a little bit more of an update when I play the game over the weekend. At least Saturday, Sunday, I hope to dedicate quite a bit of time to the game that I've been looking forward to ever since I first played it at the end of February last year, because of Outsider just simply being blown away by it. And it's like the one thing that I wanted more than life itself was a PC port of this game, because I knew how great it was. And the fact that people are coming out and supporting this stuff, I mean, just take a look at these numbers, man. They keep on going up, and they're still going up right now. This is great to see. And of course, on Monday or Tuesday or something like that, whenever I do an update video, we'll see how many people ended up playing over the weekend, because this is just Thursday evening, okay? Like, this is relatively early Thursday evening. Well, it's nice to see in the first day you've got 28,000 people, and it's been a steady climb throughout the day. Like when I first checked it, it was it capped out at 13,000. I started my download early in the day, but it took me on peasant internet 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours to download the game, because yeah, it's a chunky boy, and I don't necessarily have the greatest internet. It's good enough to publish videos, and that's all I need, okay? And because I got stuff to do early in the day, totally fine with a little bit of a slow download, in so much as, well, I can play the game whenever it's ready, and it's just sitting there. It's calling to me, but I got work to do. I got to inform you guys that, yeah, it's actually working pretty well. Okay, like it was late in the day. Like when the game was first announced, I have a PC port. They, Square Enix and the team over there making the game were hesitant to say that, yeah, it would be Steam Deck compatible. And at this point in time, like you see how well the Steam Deck is selling on Steam, and the fact that mobile gaming is overwhelmingly the predominant way to play games in today's current landscape, with the Switch dominating the console market or whatever remains of it, and mobile accounting for an overwhelming majority of profits, putting your game on the Steam Deck is, I guess, mandatory at this point in time. Long story short, it works great. It works great. It's the best port Square Enix has put out. A lot of people are telling me it's the best port that they've put out ever. But the fact that it works, the fact that it's functional on day one, that's a fantastic revelation. So bring on the mods. And let's look forward to the future. And bro, this key art is banger. Holy crap. Like there's a poster collection coming out. I think it's in March. I hope that's in there. Oh my god, that is great. That's some of the best art that I've seen come out of this game, that has some fantastic artwork. But with the success of this PC launch, I mean, news of this, the Final Fantasy VII producer reassures fans that Remake Part 3 won't be a PS6 exclusive. It's like, what? No, we're dealing with PS5 right now. No. I've got some news on PS6 stuff, that's coming, I think, over the weekend, Sunday or Monday or something like that. But anyways, this is great to know. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth producer Yoshinori Kitase, the OG director, what you got to say, has confirmed that the remake's third and final part won't be exclusive to the PS6, suggesting that it'll launch during the current generation, which is awesome, which is kind of leading to my speculation, what I've been talking about for a while. I'm thinking we're going to be hearing about this in June or July, whenever Jeff Keighley's stupid little Dorito Pope sermon is going to be dropping, okay? Summer Games Fest, I guarantee. If we're hearing anything about this game, that'll be it, okay? Because the way that the promotional cycle for Rebirth was in 2022 to cap off Summer Games Fest, you got the first trailer for Rebirth. I think we're probably in for something equivalent to that, meaning at worst, the game will come out early 2027. I don't want to think about that, but I'm optimistic, and especially with the other update that we're going to have right here, which I'm just as happy about, is like it's not exclusive, and also, well, we'll get to that all in due time. The non-exclusivity, like, this is fantastic stuff, okay? It's really for, like, you know, just nostalgic reasons, playing a Final Fantasy game, you know, first on something that's not a Sony platform. I know it originally came out on Nintendo's, but I didn't play 6 until much later, and I wasn't really aware of JRPGs earlier outside of, funnily enough, you know, another Squaresoft title, Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. I wasn't aware of Final Fantasy until, well, like a lot of people, the PlayStation days, but that's where I played, you know, all of the Final Fantasy games that I have since, well, from 7 onwards, for better or for worse, except for the MMOs, because I'm a nerd, but not that type of nerd. But yeah, every single one of them, you know, played them first on PlayStation because, well, that's where they came out. It's just this one, like, easily my most anticipated game in a very, very, very long time. Could be ever. I don't know. I was pretty hyped for, you know, Kingdom Hearts 2. Like, that was pretty big back in the cut. But this right here, ooh, it might be a little bit, it might be more than that. But considering how long Final Fantasy fans have waited to finally get confirmation that the remake of Final Fantasy VII is in development, it's a little wild to think about how fast Square Enix has managed to get through 2/3 of this project. Yeah, and how good and comprehensive Rebirth was, and how much they did accomplish in the 3-year development cycle. Like, that's wild to think about. I have 2 massive RPGs. The third and final part is well into development. But yeah, let's talk about this exclusivity. Okay, part 3 will seemingly launch this generation. God damn it. As it turns out, though, it's not going to be an issue. Reported by VGC series producer Yoshinori Kitase has confirmed that it won't be the case, although his wording does leave some room for interpretation. While speaking to 4Gamer, Kitase was notified of fans being worried about the next game being exclusive to PlayStation's next generation console. In response, Kitase laughed the comment off and said, "No, you can rest assured about that one," seemingly confirming that Remake Part 3 isn't going to be a PS6 exclusive. Now, does that mean it's going to be a Sony exclusive? I mean, does that mean I have to hang on to my PS5? It's like, I'd kind of like to get rid of it, but whatever, that's fine. That being said, Kitase's response is, yeah, a little short and doesn't really go into much detail. Probably because they're figuring out different ways, and they're also trying to hedge their bets, because obviously this interview was given before the release of the PC port, and they're just trying to see, it's like, how well is this going to perform on Steam? And chances are, over the weekend, I don't know if it hit, I don't think it hits 6 digits, but do I think it hits 50 or 60? Like, I think that's very possible. And that would be fantastic, because remember, that's a port of a 1-year-old game that was already, you know, in 2024, the best-selling exclusive title. So yeah, this could prove to Square Enix that, yeah, we need to go ahead and we need to be multi-platform on our day 1 releases. And so if we can find a way to rejigger that deal that we potentially have with Sony for exclusivity, or if we could go ahead and, you know, really shorten up that time frame of the exclusivity window, like, that would be fantastic, so we don't end up stifling our opportunities. Can we just, like, really go ahead and do that? Because here's the thing, like, we've been covering interviews with Kitase and Hamaguchi throughout the entire year, and here's the thing, is like, they just want the game in as many hands as possible. These aren't greedy people, these aren't spiteful people. You don't ever see them go after fans, and this is why I love this game so much and this theme so much. It's also why I like talking about Sonic 3. It's like, I haven't seen the movies or anything like that. I just see how passionate it is. See how passionate everybody is who's worked on that movie, and the fact that they're taking one of the most fickle and specific fan bases, which Final Fantasy fan base isn't anywhere near as enthusiastic as the Sonic one. Like, they're pretty passionate, but Sonic fans are a different breed. If you know, you know. But the fact that they made them happy and the way that they're doing it, I really like to see. And that's also what Hamaguchi, Kitase, and everybody else working over there on the Remake project, that's exactly what they're doing. And they're putting out banger products. And it's the exact product that I want for the rest of the industry. Okay, no, I don't want everything to be a big sprawling RPG. I'm totally fine with, here, go ahead and use a trigger word on this one. Okay, diversity in gameplay. I know, right? Like, I want different kinds of games that are out there. But no, when it comes to business practices, like, Rebirth is, like, it's just about a perfect game when it comes to that, because it's complete. It's over 100 hours. Like, I put in well more than that, but I don't anticipate everybody wants to play the same game for an entire year, time and time again. I get that, but when mods start to roll in on the PC port, like, it's going to be so much easier to play the game for an entire year, because you're going to get completely different experiences. Please, for the love of God, hurry up with the Sephiroth and Zack mods. Those will be freaking great. I want to do an entire playthrough of the game with just the soldier boys. That's going to be so much fun. Unlock those, goddammit. But with that said, there's also no microtransactions. Like, the only thing that you can buy is a digital deluxe edition. They said they're not going to be doing DLC because they want to focus specifically on part 3. So yeah, you get a complete game by people that actually like their fans, and there's no subscription, there's no nickel and diming you, there's no different subscription tiers to sign up to. It's, hey, play our game. We think it's pretty cool. We hope you do too. And then when it comes also to part 3, not only is it going to be exclusive, I mean, the story's done, okay? Because we heard that, Tetsuya Nomura, he was done with his scenario at the time when people were finishing up the game. I think in like May or April, he was done with the scenario, but now the story, everything's done, okay? So you're telling me that they're probably going to be calling in and taking some casting decisions and putting everything in place here real quick. I mean, I think we're going to be seeing a trailer. I think we're going to be seeing something here. If not by the summer, definitely by the end of the year. But I'm sticking with my summer prediction. Okay, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 has a completed story at Square Enix. My God, because holy shit. Like, if you're familiar with the OG FF7 from back in 1997, and you know, I'm not going to spoil it, but if you know where Rebirth ends, okay, that climactic event, everything after that is what makes Final Fantasy VII so lauded. Like, if you thought, then, that's one of my big criticisms, which I'm totally fine with, by the way, because there's a lot of great stuff leading up to it, but the plot and the story doesn't really kick into high gear until about 3/4 of the way through the game, okay? Once you get to Cosmo Canyon, then everything after that, then it really starts to go. But in part 3, is like, it's all going to be plot. It's all going to be huge set piece events. And plus you get 2 of the coolest characters, and especially in the one way where they're taking Sid, making him one of the most unlikable characters and turning him into a Han Solo type. Like, that's another thing, right? Like, they're really fixing this game. And I know the original's sacred to a lot of people, but I'm not one of these people who's a purist for adaptations when it comes to those arguments. But they're taking a character who was portrayed in a certain way and doing it a little bit different. And plus, he's going to be a dragoon, and that gameplay is going to be fun as hell. Square Enix has now completed the story of the 3rd and final part Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy. Speaking to Famitsu and translated by Eurogamer, Final Fantasy series producer Yoshinori Kitase and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth director Naoki Hamaguchi said development on the highly anticipated conclusion is progressing smoothly. I'm very satisfied with the story, so I'm sure fans will be satisfied with the final chapter, Kitase said, adding that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth creative director Tetsuya Nomura gave him homework to ensure this was the case. The story of Part 3, which currently lacks an official name, I think it's going to be Reclaim. I've heard other people say Returns. I don't like that as much. I think Reclaim is so much better. I've got a couple of supporting arguments to back up my theory, but whatever, we'll see in due time. All I know is, especially when it comes to the color scheme, I think we're going to be dealing with Lifestream Green as opposed to, kind of the muted teal of Remake and then the red for Rebirth. I'm pretty sure that's the way that we're going. Or I guess I've always kind of envisioned it as being yellow as well, but no, it's going to be Lifestream Green. It makes way too much sense. Creative director, Part 3 currently lacks an official name or release window, was required to have a respect for the original Final Fantasy VII along with a new level of satisfaction not felt in that game, Kitase said. That's Interesting. New level of satisfaction not felt in that game. What does he mean by that? Okay, because Kitase has also talked about wanting to have, you know, like a happy ending for the characters, but if you know the story of Final Fantasy VII, and no, I'm not talking about strictly the adaptation, like, that's a cast of characters that aren't really heading towards, like, a gee-golly happy ending. Like, it's necessarily going to be bittersweet, but it's probably also not going to be what the boys were knocking around back in the day where, okay, during this certain climactic event leading up to the final conclusion of the game, leading up to the climax of the game, they were thinking of having an event where all but your party ends up, you know, dying. Like, you take a certain team to go into a certain place and everybody else ends up getting blown up along the way. They were thinking of doing that, which is wild to think about, and that definitely would have, you know, sent ripples through the industry. It's just also kind of glad that they didn't do that, but I digress. I'm very satisfied, yes, with the story, and I'm sure fans will be satisfied with the final chapter. Square Enix announced its plans to release a remake trilogy, yes, in June of 2022. Yeah, that was right after, you know, the first trailer at Summer Games Fest. Rebirth expanded, yes, scope significantly. Yeah, flushing out all of those cities, all of those pit stops, making Gongaga a real place instead of just 3 JPEGs with pre-rendered backgrounds. It's like, it's wild, man. Oh, it's so great. But yeah, it brought the overall story up to the end of Disc 1. Yeah, I guess that's the way that you can put it, meaning that Part 3 is going to be all of Disc 2, and, well, there's just one thing to do in Disc 3. But yes, Square Enix hasn't said when it will end, only vaguely noting it hopes to release Part 3 by 2027, which just so happens to be the 30th anniversary of FF7. So yeah, if they're feeling real nostalgic about it, they could drag it out that long, which honestly, I don't want to rush development or anything like that, but we also see what this team that has maintained its composition, okay, unlike several other big budget releases that we've talked about where their dev teams are changing over more than clothes in certain respects. This team, I'm pretty sure Hamaguchi said that like 95% of the team has been here since Remake, and they came through on Rebirth, and it also looks like for Part 3 they're all sticking around on that, so that's why everything can move so smoothly, which is just it is a revelatory. Like, this entire project is just so unique in and of itself, and the fact that its development has also been as unique as it is, especially in today's landscape, it's a revelation. This is a one-of-a-kind event, and this is why I'm so happy it's succeeding on PC. This is why I'm overly excited for news of Part 3 potentially coming out this year, and us maybe getting our hands on it next year. Yeah, probably next year. I hope next year. Please make it next year. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it, and also just go buy this damn game if you can. Take care, everyone.